Can you give me a little air conditioning out here? Thanks. Pump that son of a bitch. Yes. Yeah. Hey, Victor. The monitor's not on at all. Everything's in black. Did you? By the way, did Louis show you where where we want to let her keep talking? I think it's what I said. What, right? Yeah, it's the image of the Jesus' Last Supper. No. No. Correct. Yeah, it's the Last Supper. Correct. Good. All righty. And I think we're ready to go. We're ready to send our salutations to Manila. Who? Yeah, but I don't think they need publicity. It's like not that kind of publicity. How are you? Yeah, we'll always knock out Manila first. Manila? Checking, audio. Hi.
Hola.
Are you going without your lens?
Yes, I'm trying.
I like you.
Since I'm going.
You look more pretty.
No notes today.
You look more pretty.
Hey, what are you saying? Girls with boys don't make passes at girls who wear glasses?
No, I just don't think you look as pretty wearing glasses. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, thank you.
I think you look really, really beautiful right now. And when you wear your glasses,
thank you.
You're still beautiful, but it's a different kind of beautiful. It's like kind of like an intellectual Marion the librarian kind of beautiful.
Yeah. It's unfortunate I needed them.
Yeah, I don't know how let me see. I never wear them, but let me see what I look like.
I think it looks good. I don't think people change too much.
No, I like you like this. I also want you to
Well, thank you.
Perform for me today like the Olympics. By the way, when I ask you the question about the Olympics, I'm basically throwing to you and I'm going to say, explain this to us, Manila, and you're going to be explaining to us that Last Supper picture from Friday, okay?
Okay.
It's up to
I'll
you.
try.
Don't get nervous. All right, let's let's make sure we can check in Gotti. Hey, Gotti. Hi, Gotti. How are you?
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good.
You look.
I'm not wearing glasses.
Well, here, I'll wear mine like this. See how it looks. Ready?
Okay, now we know what's your problem with glasses. Sure.
You are a spitball. I love you. I've been watching all of your videos, and oh my God, you remind me of I don't know, me. You say what you need to say.
Yeah.
You're not afraid. You're courageous. You're tough. Thank God for you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. It's an honor. Thank you.
Well, you're very nice to say that. Yeah, I got a reputation for that, I guess, too.
No, really, at times like these, it's really, I'm serious. It's really great that we get to reach people from the other sides of the world, like yourself and some other colleagues we've been conversing with. I mean, the only good part about the actual massacre going on is that we're being able to reach to people of like minds or like ethics, or similar struggles. So I think this is good, you know?
Yeah, and in many ways, it tells you who's who, defines people. And
Oh yeah,
better
I
th-
always tell them war is good because in my country it's always war or truce, war or truce. So I tell them in times of war, at least everybody's wearing their real mask.
Exactly.
Nobody's trying to be something else, you know?
Exactly. All right, we're going to do this. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
Looks like we got a storm coming. Boom, boom, boom. Hi, everybody. I'm Rick Sanchez. This is Direct Impact, and this is what we're going to be talking about.
I am Nicolas Maduro, re-elected President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
There you have it. Maduro declares victory, but the U.S. State Department says, damn him. That's not what we wanted. We spent all that money to get him out, and he still won. What's going on here? This is Direct Impact. I'm Rick Sanchez. Let's do this. So let's start with this. It's been roughly a week now, more or less, right? About a week since Kamala Harris unofficially took the reins of the Democratic Party as their candidate instead of President Joe Biden, obviously, who said he's not going to run after Mr. Obama told him he had to get the hell out. That means that Kamala Harris will now be facing off with ex-President Donald Trump, and now we can finally see how this race is shaping up. Remember, I told you we had to wait at least a week for some of the polls to come in? Well, some of the polls are coming in. Here are the polls that we are going to be looking at for the next several months. They're all aggregate polls, by the way. That means they combine a bunch of different polls. Real Clear Politics, that's a good one. That's one you should look at from time to time. It shows Trump with a 1.7 percentage lead, 47.9 to 46.2, as you can see. Now, let's look at the New York Times. New York Times is another very good aggregate poll. I think they do a really good job in their polling. They don't use one poll. They use a combination of about 5 or 6 polls. Also has Trump ahead by 2 percentage points. That's 48 to 46. Let's look at one more. What do you say? All right, Victor, put that one up too. There it is. Finally, there's The Hill. The Hill does a good job with their aggregation of polls. Shows Trump 48%, Harris at 45.9. So in this one, he's winning by more than 2 percentage points. So here's why this is important, and here's where we are. Basically, after watching Trump go way ahead after his assassination attempt, and then watching Harris catch up to him after Biden stepped down, now it's all kind of shaking out. You know the expression we use in mathematics, regressing to the mean? Regressing to the mean means it goes back to where essentially it's kind of supposed to be. That's kind of the way life is, too, in many ways. So essentially, we're back where we were before, with Trump still winning. To be fair, Harris is doing a little better than Joe Biden, but she's not doing a lot better than Joe Biden, but she's doing obviously better than Joe Biden, who, God bless him, is, himself not doing all that well. So that's kind of where we are right now. Manila, you got anything on this? You want to chime in on this?
Absolutely, Rick. So first, we got to say, like you said, it's only been 1 week.
Right.
It's fair to say that we are still in the honeymoon phase of the new Kamala Harris campaign for POTUS. So people are energized at the moment until we start getting into the nitty-gritty about her history, her time as VP, her accomplishments. What have they been? Was she the border czar? Wasn't she the border czar? What were her failures, her wins? And once people start digging into that, I think the emotions are going to kind of quell, because according to 538, which we know is a great prognosticator about different horse races across the United States, right? Even internationally as well, but specifically here in the U.S.
Yeah, and
538 does a really good job.
And they're looking at the battleground, by the way. I was sharing the general the poll of all Americans, and with 538, what they do is they break down states. So that's, in the end, will end up being more important, right? To your point.
And what they have to say is that her disapproval ratings as of this weekend are hovering at about 53% disapproval. So even though some of the polls are showing that she's closing that gap, narrowing the gap between the Democrats versus Republicans, overall, it seems like Americans the majority of Americans are still not pleased with Kamala Harris in general. So I'm going to say, let's give it a little bit more time.
Absolutely.
But we should note, Rick, she's hauled in a whole boatload of money in the past week, almost $250 million, which is now going to turn this 2024 race into the potentially most expensive political campaign in U.S. history.
And it's just amazing to think that we talk about these things. I know you and I had talked this morning when we were talking about what we were going to have in the show, and I mentioned this, and I think sometimes we forget these are multimillionaires and billionaires who are essentially buying politicians, because in America, buying a politician is legal. Corruption is legal in the United States political system. You have a right to give millions of dollars to somebody because you want them to do something for you. And this is what we're seeing happening, not just with Kamala Harris, to be fair, but with Trump as well. And if it was not Kamala Harris and Trump, it would be 2 other people, and they too would be essentially bought by billionaires and millionaires. That's terrible. Speaking of elections, let's move to Venezuela. Venezuela's election is over, and it appears that the incumbent, President Nicolas Maduro, has won. He is asserting his victory, and his opponents are saying he cheated. Here we go.
We called for the elections, and they were made in an exemplary manner. And I can say to Venezuela and to the world, I am Nicolas Maduro, re-elected President of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Thanks for defending our democracy, our laws, and our people.
We want to tell all Venezuelans in the whole world that Venezuela has a new elected president, and it is Edmundo Gonzalez. We won. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. I want you to know that this has been something so overwhelming, so big, that we have won in all sectors of the country.
That's weird. I'm looking at Maduro, and he's dressed like a high school cheerleader. Meanwhile, the guy who supposedly beat him looks like Joe Biden, like he's half asleep. It's bizarre sitting from the outside looking at this election, but the fact of the matter is, it is surprising that Maduro could pull out a victory given the sad state of his country's economy. Here's renowned economist Jeffrey Sachs A guy, by the way, that I very much respect because he's willing to tell the truth in the United States of America, a country where the truth is not something you usually get away with saying. He explains why Venezuela's economy is in ruins.
The U.S. government has been trying to strangle the Venezuelan economy. It started with sanctions in 2017 that prevented essentially the country from accessing international capital markets and the oil company from restructuring its loans. That put Venezuela into a hyperinflation. That was the utter collapse. Venezuela is in complete, utter catastrophe. A lot of it brought on by the United States deliberately, creating massive suffering. We know there's hunger. We know there's incredible shortage of medical supplies. We can only imagine, because we won't know really until the dust settles and careful studies are done, how much excess mortality there is. But surely in a context like this, this is a catastrophe largely created by the U.S.
Catastrophe created by the U.S. Where have we seen that before? Manila, I did my own research this morning. I checked out this Edmundo Gonzalez guy, and what I found was that he is deeply, deeply tied to Washington. He even went to the School of the Americas, where the CIA basically trains Latin American leaders to then eventually take over countries. I don't know. Your thoughts on Maduro beating Gonzalez and the reaction so far from the opposition, including Maria Corina Machado?
Well, Rick, I think what we have witnessed over the years is that the United States and the powers that be here, especially over at the DOD and the State Department, have greatly underestimated the will of the Venezuelan people, as well as that of Nicolas Maduro, who himself, by the way, survived an assassination attempt when he was speaking on stage a couple of years ago. A small drone allegedly was attacking him when he was giving a speech. So he's not only survived an assassination attempt, he's also survived a coup attempt. If you recall, during the Trump administration, they appointed, the U.S. that is, appointed and anointed Juan Guaido, to where, you know, a handful of countries, couple dozen countries decided to recognize him as the temporary president or whatever it was. But that guy's nowhere to be found as well. So to see a Nicolas Maduro victory yet again, I think underscores the resistance and the resilience of the Venezuelan people. And then when you compare that to this Maria Machado woman, she sounds like Hillary Clinton circa 2016, a sore loser defending her guy, but a sore loser, and using the same playbook and saying, no, we won, the election was stolen, even though the math doesn't pan out in her favor. You
know what I think? When I was talking to some of our friends here, many of whom in South Florida are Venezuelan, and I think even they would probably admit that somehow the Venezuelan, because Maduro's no saint, okay, but the Venezuelan opposition needs to come up with something other than a Washington CIA / State Department handpicked opposition person. Because I think you lose your credibility. They should have somebody take on Maduro. They should have somebody try and fix the economy. But if you come in and everything in your background says CIA, State Department, trained in Washington, ex-diplomat, it's like, how can I believe you? I mean, you may be the greatest guy in the world, but everybody else who's come with those same credentials is usually a liar and a usurper. So I think they need to find that person. I'm not sure if Capriles was that person or some of the others that we've covered in the past are that person, but this ain't it, my opinion. I may be wrong.
It ain't Gonzalez.
Yeah, it ain't Gonzalez.
It ain't Gonzalez.
By the way, he looks like Biden.
Gonzalez.
He looks like Biden. I'm sorry. But she was talking and he was sleeping behind her. The world is still reacting to the opening ceremony of the Olympics. So let me stage it this way for you, the way they did. The opening ceremony gives the host country the chance to kind of show off its wares, right? It is, so to speak, those of you who've watched it in the past, it's usually a beautiful rendition, act. It's a chance to put your stamp as the host country and show the world a little bit of your culture. For example, let me take you back to China. Look at that. That was the Chinese. That was the opening ceremony in 2008, the Summer Olympics in Beijing. 4,000 drummers playing folkloric music of China. It was meant to illustrate China's devotion to its past, an ancient culture that is as complex as it is disciplined. Now let me show you an image of the opening ceremony in Sochi. This was when Russia hosted the Winter Olympics in 2014. They chose to illustrate the country's culture through music and through ballet, which they're famous for, as well as emphasizing the country's history and literature with references to its great writers like Tolstoy and Chekhov. Okay? Okay, that brings us to this. This is the image that's being shared around the world, which I guess represents the culture of France and the West. I mean, compare that to what we just saw from the Chinese and from the Russians. I mean, by the way, and I did this for you, above you see the famous Da Vinci painting of, Jesus' Last Supper, and below it is the image broadcast to the world from the opening ceremony in Paris last Friday. Manila, as we're looking at this, can you explain to me what the hell that is that we're looking at, that overweight woman with that thing on her head and all those people? What is this? I didn't see it, by the way. I was at a baseball game. What is this?
I did see it, Rick. I was a little bit appalled myself, but that's me editorializing. So once I remove my editorializing and just trying to be fair and objective about this, one, we have to note that the people that organized this opening ceremony have now come forward, whether it's genuine or not. They have come forward to apologize that its depiction of the Last Supper has offended so many millions of people watching the ceremony around the world, especially those of religious devotion. They were very offended by it, and France got a lot of blowback for it immediately on social media and as well as through official channels. Now, I would say, having been to France multiple times, I have family in France. I would say modern 20th and 21st century, we think of France and we think of fashion and food, haute couture. And I think if I want to, I don't know if I'm playing devil's advocate here, but at least giving the benefit of the doubt to the organizers is that maybe perhaps they thought they were being bold and avant-garde. But we got to remember, if we put this shoe on the other foot, or we put it the other way and say they did a rendition of, I don't know, a show of Muhammad and did something with Muslim themed, they would be deemed Islamophobic, right? And that this would be racist. So, it's hard to justify.
But that's the same thing that's going on now. But that's, as far as last I recall, I don't think Jesus was trans, and I don't think most of the people around him were all gay, and I don't remember any of the prophets wearing, having a beard and wearing a bikini. I don't understand any of that, and I don't understand what they were trying to say. And I think what it's saying is that the Western culture, unlike many cultures in the world, has just kind of gotten out of control, and they don't have any rules or any sense of ethics or morality. And that's the obvious thing that they seem to be trying to say. And if that's being artsy, then I would prefer not to be artsy. So, or home couture, or whatever that word is that you just pronounced a little while ago.
Haute couture,
yeah,
haute couture in the fashion world. So.
Great, good for haute couture. Tell him I said hi, old Hody. Listen, thanks, Manila. So you know how we're always, by the way, hearing about the tunnels in Gaza, and it seems that every time the Israeli military bombs and destroys a building, apartments, schools, kills thousands of innocent people, including children, it always says, well, we had to do this because there was a Hamas tunnel underneath there. For example, there's not a single operational hospital left in Gaza. Not a single hospital left in Gaza. That's crazy. Watch this.
These are the sounds of the final gasps from Gaza's collapsing healthcare system. Medical staff in Gaza City working under near relentless Israeli bombardment for over a month. But now, this chorus of frantic voices, seen here working under torchlight, tells its own gut-wrenching story. The Al-Quds hospital, the second largest in Gaza, has now collapsed.
A hospital collapses. That's crazy. If that happened anywhere else in the world, can you imagine? And yet another day in Gaza. When we come back, I'm going to be talking to a guest who gives us a different perspective on what those tunnels really represent for the people of Gaza. Fascinating conversation I'm going to have with Gotti Francis. She's wonderful. She's an award-winning international correspondent. She's been on the ground there in the war in Gaza. And it is in and of itself an act of courage just to be there, obviously, if anybody looks at the pictures that are coming in. She is going to join us in just a minute. Stay right there because we're going to be right back. So welcome back, everybody. I'm Rick Sanchez, and this is Direct Impact. I'm so glad that you are there. So joining us now is Gotti Francis. She's the host of the West Asia Post on World is One News, and she is good enough to join us right now. You know, I'm thinking about starting a conversation with something that, for me personally, as a citizen of the United States, made me very angry. I just watched last week as the President of the United States and the Vice President of the United States literally turned the government over to this man who came here from Israel and was everything if not domineering and explosive. And he told our politicians what the foreign policy of the United States should be. Mind you, let me repeat this. While the president was sitting at home somewhere and the vice president was being hidden and not even a member of that. That just seems so wrong from an American perspective. 50 to 60% of Americans don't even like this guy, and he's the guy running our government? What do you think of that?
Well, I came across a meme today, I think, on Instagram, and because, you know, the space has been all filled with memes making fun of how the Congress was standing and clapping for the massacre and for the war criminal that is proven by the ICJ, but they still were clapping for him. So everybody's making fun. Today there was a meme saying that they're just clapping to keep their seats, and it's really very accurate. Because if you look at how much the AIPAC and the lobbies and the Zionism rules and governs in terms of money and the deep state in the United States of America, it's not really uncommon to see that happen in the American Congress. I mean, if it weren't for the United States of America, I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu would have weapons to keep on slaughtering kids. and to keep on bombing hospitals. The airstrikes are coming, they are made in the United States of America. And if they're not, the impunity and the vetoes and the protection. So actually, to me, I don't see it as a war between us, the indigenous people, and the Israelis. We don't recognize Israel as a state. It's an occupation that has always been helped and funded and governed and held strong by the Americans in the region. So it's not really uncommon. It's just very rude, and the audacity, the bias. I mean, they're still crying over what's happening in Ukraine, although they are the reason for it. They don't even find it in themselves to respect the blood of tens of thousands of people, of civilians. It's very rude, you know.
Yeah, it seemed that way, and it is that way, I think, to many Americans. But unfortunately, it seems like right now, even though we call ourselves a democracy, I'm not sure that our representatives or elected officials represent the will of the American people, so they do whatever the hell they're going to do, which does make it somewhat hypocritical when we go around the world telling everybody else how they need to be more of a democracy like us, but that doesn't represent democracy. Let me ask you, I've seen a lot of your reporting. You're fantastic. You're just a spitball when I watch you reporting and the things that you do and how you get in there and you roll up your sleeves and you tell the stories of what's really going on involving real people. I saw some of your reporting on the tunnels in Gaza, and we're always told here in the West that wherever you see a tunnel, it represents Hamas, that there are some Hamas soldiers or terrorists down there planning or something. But you explain in some of your reporting that many of those tunnels are simply the infrastructure that's been used by many Palestinians for many years because they're kind of possessed, oppressed people, and that's the only way they can do certain things. Kind of like the way the Underground Railroad worked for African-American slaves, African-Americans, blacks, during the Civil War, prior to the Civil War in the United States. Can you take us through that explanation a little bit?
I think now it's very obvious to the world how the Israelis look at the people in Gaza. I mean, they are denying aid and they are actually causing a starvation. And as we speak now, there's a polio epidemic in Gaza. So the Israelis do not give rights to anyone, and they do not regard them as humans. The time that I entered Gaza, Rick, it was there wasn't a war. But it was just being an open-air prison. This is what Amnesty International and the United Nations called Gaza before that war, before October 7, years and years ago, because they have been besieged. And the only way that I, as a journalist, could get there was through a tunnel. And the only way that anybody could get there was through a tunnel, because the Egyptians have closed Rafah borders. It's not possible to get inside or outside. So there were about thousands, more than 1,500 tunnels, as per the reports and the investigative reporting that I did at the time. And these were only lifelines for medicine, for food, for humans, for anybody that needed to move around. Now, I don't think there's any human that would prefer to live like that. So it's really very unfair and unjust when we speak about the tunnels as terrorism or Hamas, without speaking that these humans, even before Hamas was born, they were being persecuted and oppressed and occupied and killed and slaughtered and raped and jailed and imprisoned. And actually, Hamas or any kind of resistance today is the reaction. The action is the occupation of the land, the colonization of the people, the slaughter of kids. And this has been happening here since 1948 and before. So the tunnels are just one more thing in that narrative. It's a reaction to the oppression and to the imprisonment of civilians and of millions of people in an open-air prison.
Do you think that Netanyahu will continue to expand this war and go beyond Gaza? Do you think, with what we've seen in Yemen and obviously in Lebanon, that this thing will actually metastasize?
Actually, I don't think that Netanyahu really knows what he's doing or really has the options. Right now, as we speak, they are really, there's a hot potato being thrown left, right, and center inside the Israeli governance of their occupation and their colony here. I mean, today they were kicked out from Majd al-Shams, ministers, right ministers. Today, the police, the Israeli police and the Israeli soldiers clashed in Sidi Tamam when they were trying to arrest them. But so and every day there are protests and there's an instability and there's the hostages families. So in general, Netanyahu is looking for a way out, and he has in mind his own political career, because there's no way out of here. There's no way for him to get out of here. And on the other hand, there's something, Rick, the Israelis have always been saying, ever since the dawn of my memory of them, they've been saying they want to eradicate us, they want to annihilate us, they want to annex our land, Lebanon, Palestine, and Syria. So they never want peace. The only time when they're not actually bombing us is when they cannot, because the power of the resistance now is really deterring. And the only reason why Netanyahu would not expand is his inability to do so.
There were some Jewish Americans last week who were protesting Netanyahu's visit, and one young man, and we played his soundbite here on our show, said, "I was a little boy growing up as a Jew, and I was always told the Holocaust, never again. We can never let it happen." And then he went on to say, "Now I'm seeing it happen again, and it's my people who are acting and doing it." And I thought, wow, never quite heard it put that way, but I thought that was a very powerful and pronounced message. You are a powerful and pronounced messenger, Gadi, and it's such a pleasure to have you on with us. I can't wait to get you back, because I'd like for the conversation to go on further. I have a feeling you have a lot of things that you want to share. Thanks again.
Thank you.
That's our show. Remember to always look outside your own box. Truths don't live in boxes. I'm Rick Sanchez, and I'll be looking for you next time.
No, it's not it's certainly not. I wouldn't call it interference in domestic affairs. The prime minister has the look. He was invited by Congress. He has the right to come and speak his mind. Speak his mind.
La sombra rusa persigue al presidente de los Estados Unidos.
Pueda interferir en este proceso democrático. Que ninguna entidad pueda interferir en este proceso democrático.
It will be the first time
of the war, and that's why you see hostage negotiations.
John Durham salió hoy con este reporte por cierto, de más de 300 páginas que le tomó en hacer esta base. No te dura que definitivamente esa investigación jamás ha... Él asegura que definitivamente esa investigación jamás ha debido ser iniciada.
Well, it is to me. I think this past weekend is illustrative of what a great case that seems to be. That's the appearance to me.
As Israel's prime will not defend our people, we achieve victory.
So he did. Throw sergeants at arms on the floor, and if anybody gets out of hand, the Speaker of the House will bang the gavel. We're going to arrest people if we have to do it. We're going to get the message out. Yeah. Gavel, we're going to arrest people if we have to do it. We're going to get the message out.
It will, and he keeps putting new conditions. He keeps deal, deal, and he keeps putting new conditions. He keeps putting new objections to the hostage deal.
I told him that I will always ensure that Israel is able to defend commitment to the existence of the State of Israel, to its security, and to the people of Israel.
The greatest dinner I've ever had. Come on, let's get a beautiful. Let's make Great. When Ben Franklin
Bombardeó en el ataque. Indicó que el centro educativo albergaba una unidad médica improvisada en el área de Deir al-Bala.
When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders have given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was a republic, if you can keep it.
Foreign leader of a country who was speaking in front of American Congress, criticizing American protesters who are mostly, using their freedom of assembly. Do you consider this as an, interference in U.S. domestic affairs?
No, it's not it's certainly not. I wouldn't call it interference in domestic affairs. The prime minister has the look, he was invited by Congress. He has the right to come and speak his mind.
La sombra rusa persigue al presidente de los Estados Unidos, hasta el punto que el FBI, de forma absolutamente excepcional, investiga una posible conspiración
between individuals associated with the Trump campaign
entre miembros de la campaña de Donald Trump y el gobierno de Moscú para influir en las elecciones de 2016. Sería un crimen muy serio y una de las traiciones más graves contra la democracia en la historia, afirma Adam Schiff, demócrata y miembro del Comité de Inteligencia de la Cámara Baja. Milena Roslettinen, congresista republicana, salió alarmada de la audiencia.
No podemos permitir que ninguna entidad pueda interferir en este proceso democrático.
John Durham salió hoy con este reporte por cierto, de más de 300 páginas que le tomó 4 años en preparar. Y básicamente lo que dice es que tanto el FBI como el Departamento de Justicia de alguna forma cometieron crasos errores en hacer esta investigación basada en testimonios que no tenían base, no tenían prueba. Y por esa razón, él asegura que definitivamente esta investigación jamás ha debido ser iniciada.
So we did. We got it scheduled. It'll be next week. It will be a big thing. And I want you to know that there's a number of Democrats in the House who have said they're going to boycott the event. Yeah. Yes. And then some others are going to protest. Listen, we're going to have extra sergeants at arms on the floor, and if anybody gets out of hand, the Speaker of the House will bang the gavel. We're going to arrest people if we have to do it. We're going to get the message out.
It will be the first time in American history that a war criminal has been given that honor. Frankly, this invitation to Netanyahu is a disgrace and something that we will look back on with regret.
And his interest is to keep the war going as long as possible. And that's what he's doing. And when he talks about the hostages, I don't believe he has any interest in releasing the hostages because that would hasten the end of the war. And that's why you see hostage negotiations, and he keeps putting new conditions. He keeps putting new objections to the hostage deal.
The greatest dinner I've ever had. Come on, let's get a beautiful. When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders had given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was a republic, if you can keep it.
Well, it is to me. I think this past weekend is illustrative of what a great case officer Vladimir Putin is. He knows how to handle an asset, and that's what he's doing with the president.
You're saying that Russia is handling President Trump as an asset?
That seems to be that's the appearance to me.
As Israel's Prime Minister, I promise you this: no matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult the road ahead, Israel will not relent. Israel will not bend. We will defend our land. We will defend our people. We will fight until we achieve victory.
I told him that I will always ensure that Israel is able to defend itself, including from Iran and Iran-backed militias such as Hamas and Hezbollah. From when I was a young girl, collecting funds to plant trees for Israel, to my time in the United States Senate and now at the White House, I have had an unwavering commitment to the existence of the State of Israel, to its security, and to the people of Israel.
Bombardeo israelí contra una escuela en el centro de Gaza. El Ministerio de Salud del territorio palestino, gobernado por Hamas, aseguró el sábado que al menos una treintena de personas murieron y más de un centenar resultaron heridas en el ataque. Y explicó que el centro educativo albergaba una unidad médica improvisada en el área de Deir al-Bala.
So we did. We got it scheduled. Anybody gets out of hand, the Speaker of the House will bang the gavel. We're going to arrest people if we have to do it. We're going to get the message out.
Albergaba una unidad médica improvisada en el área de Deir al-Bala. una unidad médica improvisada en el área de Deir al-Bala. Improvisada en el área de Deir al-Bala. En el área de Deir al-Bala.
When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from Franklin Republic, if you can keep it, you can keep it. Public, if you can keep it.
foreign leader of a country.
La sombra rusa persigue al presidente.
Well, it is to me. I think
John Durham salió hoy con este reporte de, por cierto, de más de 300 páginas que le tomó 4.
As Israel's prime minister, I promise you this.
So we did. We got it scheduled.
It will be the first time in America.
I told him that I will always ensure that Israel is able.
Dale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Bueno, Mona. Hello. Por nada. Aquí estoy pendiente. Hola. I am now connect. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye. Sí, ¿tú me escuchas? Hola, Eric, ¿qué tal? Qué bueno, qué gusto. Bien, bueno, pues aquí dándole, mano, ya sabes, buscándole a la chuleta. ¿Tú qué tal? ¿Ustedes cómo van? Ok, sí, no te preocupes, aquí estoy. Gracias, Eric. Ok, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 48, 49, 60, 70, 80. My pleasure.
have to send that yet?
Not until you say Spitfire.
Needs me to read something? Yeah. Oh, before you do that, I need to just say one thing. Where'd she go? Hello? Peyton? That's not as important. Perfect. Oh, she's calling her dad. Okay, I think he's recording, but hold on. Wait on the guest. Peyton, let's go. Victor, can you record real quick and send this up to Rick Emery? Ready? Let me know when you got some speed. And then give it to Jose, and he'll send it to him while we're doing the other show or whatever, or somebody will send. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'll tell you what, you real Spitfire. You're a Spitfire. It's like you're a Spitfire. 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 There you go. Will that work?
All right. Yeah, we'll make it work. Thank you.
That's what I was told you wanted. Thanks, my friend.
All right.
God bless. Bye-bye. There you go. Thank you. All right, let's do the guests. Sure, looks great. So who we got? Max.
Hey, ¿qué tal, Rick?
¿Y qué viejo? ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien, gracias, hermano.
Coño, te voy a hacer.
Aquí con el gusto de saludarte otra vez.
Te vamos a hacer famoso con la audiencia que tiene esta cadena, es increíble.
Muy bien.
Ok, Pipo, vamos a hablar. Bueno, tú vas más o menos a conocer el tema porque te lo voy a explicar mientras que lo estoy leyendo. Así que vamos con todo y dale.
Claro, sale.
Perfect. Soy Rick Sánchez con lo que necesitas saber en el día de hoy. Hay que estar ciego para no ver la hipocresía de los líderes en Washington en lo que se refiere a Israel comparado con Rusia. Es increíble. Soy Rick Sánchez con un impacto directo y vamos con todo. Déjame ver, ¿por dónde empezamos? Vamos a hacer esto. Vamos a empezar con una corresponsal turca en Estados Unidos planteando la pregunta que debe de haber planteada por un periodista estadounidense. Es casi una vergüenza que ella lo tuvo que hacer. La periodista le dice al vocero del Departamento de Estado, ¿usted cree que es justo, refiriéndose a Benjamin Netanyahu, que el primer ministro de Israel debe venir aquí a los Estados Unidos y abiertamente insultar a los ciudadanos norteamericanos, como lo hizo durante su discurso? Esa es la pregunta, ¿no? No es el deber del vocero de Estados Unidos defender sus ciudadanos en vez de defender a un hombre nombrado criminal de guerra. Aquí está la respuesta.
Foreign leader of a country who was speaking in front of American Congress, criticizing American protesters who are mostly, using their freedom of assembly. Do you consider this as an, interference in U.S. domestic affairs?
No, it's not it's certainly not. I wouldn't call it interference in domestic affairs. The prime minister has the look. He was invited by Congress. He has the right to come and speak his mind.
All right, we'll knock it out. Yeah. Let's take it from the top. Sorry, me comí unas cuantas palabritas ahí, and Sánchez. Soy Rick Sánchez con lo que necesitas saber en el día de hoy. Hay que estar casi... Soy Rick Sánchez con lo que necesitas saber en el día de hoy. Hay que estar casi ciego para no ver la hipocresía de los líderes en Washington en lo que se refiere a Israel y en comparación con Rusia. Se lo voy a explicar. Soy Rick Sánchez, impacto directo y vamos con todo. Déjame ver, ¿por dónde empezamos? Vamos a hacer esto. Vamos a empezar con una corresponsal turca en Estados Unidos planteando la pregunta que debe de haber estado planteada por un periodista estadounidense. Es casi una vergüenza, si lo piensas, que ella lo tuvo que hacer. La periodista le dice al vocero del Departamento de Estado, ¿usted cree que es justo, refiriéndose a Benjamin Netanyahu, que el primer ministro de Israel debe venir aquí a Estados Unidos y abiertamente insultar ciudadanos norteamericanos, como lo hizo él durante su discurso? ¿No es el deber del vocero del Departamento de Estado defender sus ciudadanos en vez de defender al hombre nombrado criminal de guerra por las Naciones Unidas? Aquí está su respuesta.
Foreign leader of a country who was speaking in front of American Congress, criticizing American protesters who are mostly, using their freedom of assembly. Do you consider this as an, interference in U.S. domestic affairs?
No, it's not it's certainly not. I wouldn't call it interference in domestic affairs. The Prime Minister has the look. He was invited by Congress. He has the right to come and speak his mind.
No, no está interfiriendo. Nada, dice el vocero. Es increíble que hemos llegado a este punto. Más o menos, él está diciendo con esa respuesta que Netanyahu puede hacer lo que le da la gana. Es como si él fuera el que más manda en Estados Unidos. ¿Sabes por qué? Porque lo es. Porque lo es. Y otra pregunta. ¿Tú sabes lo que es el informe de Durham? Así se llama, el informe de Durham. Dudo que lo sepas, porque el mundo periodístico no le prestó mucha atención a este reporte cuando salió. Pero déjame explicártelo. John Durham, ese hombre que ven ahí, es un fiscal especial quien investigó el famoso caso donde acusaron a Rusia de interferir en las elecciones del 2016. Quiero ahora usar el informe de Durham para hacer una comparación importante. Según la investigación de Durham, de este tipo, este hombre que ven ahí, fue toda una mentira. Rusia no se metió en los asuntos de Estados Unidos. Ok. Sin embargo, los medios, el Partido Demócrata, Hillary Clinton, el Departamento de Estado, todos hicieron esa acusación. Ahora sabemos la verdad, pero en ese entonces casi todo el mundo lo creyó, porque los reportajes sobre este tema eran constantes.
La sombra rusa persigue al presidente de los Estados Unidos, hasta el punto que el FBI, de forma absolutamente excepcional, investiga una posible conspiración entre miembros de la campaña de Donald Trump y el gobierno de Moscú para influir en las elecciones de 2016. Sería un crimen muy serio y una de las traiciones más graves contra la democracia en la historia, afirma Adam Schiff, demócrata y miembro del Comité de Inteligencia de la Cámara Baja. Ilena Rosletinen, congresista republicana, salió alarmada de la audiencia.
No podemos permitir que ninguna entidad pueda interferir en este proceso democrático.
Demócratas, republicanos, funcionarios de la CIA, del FBI, le dijeron al mundo que Rusia había puesto a Donald Trump en la Casa Blanca. James Clapper, director de inteligencia.
Well, it is to me. I think this past weekend is illustrative of what a great case officer Vladimir Putin is. He knows how to handle an asset, and that's what he's doing with the president.
You're saying that Russia is handling President Trump as an asset?
That seems to be that's the appearance to me.
Después de 4 años de investigaciones, el informe del fiscal Durham explicó con detalles cómo la supuesta intromisión de Rusia no fue real y que no había ninguna prueba, ninguna.
John Durham salió hoy con este reporte por cierto, de más de 300 páginas que le tomó 4 años en preparar. Y básicamente lo que dice es que tanto el FBI como el Departamento de Justicia de alguna forma cometieron crasos errores en hacer esta investigación basada en testimonios que no tenían base, no tenían prueba. Y por esa razón, él asegura que definitivamente esa investigación jamás ha debido ser iniciada.
Que no habían pruebas. Esas palabras te lo dicen todo. Así que después de acusar a Rusia por hacer algo que no hicieron, el informe implica a Hillary Clinton y sus asesores de inventar la cosa entera, porque estaban furiosos por haber perdido la elección. Y acuérdate que ese grupito siempre ha tenido un prejuicio contra Rusia. Ese grupito de Hillary Clinton, que ahora es el mismo grupito del presidente Biden. Ahora la comparación, y aquí es donde quería llegar. Si la narrativa era que ningún país debe tener el derecho de meterse en los asuntos de otro país, perfecto, aunque en ese caso no era la verdad, en el caso de Rusia. Entonces, por favor, llámame, búscame en Twitter, donde sea, y explícame cómo lo siguiente entonces es posible. El primer ministro de Israel agarra un teléfono y le dice al Congreso de Estados Unidos, vengo a dar un discurso y espero que me reciban con aplausos. ¿Y qué le dicen los congresistas de Estados Unidos? Sí, señor, claro que sí, aquí estamos para servir a su disposición. Y aquí está el primer ministro diciéndole a los Estados Unidos cómo él va a usar los fondos del pueblo estadounidense, ¿no?, para matar más palestinos y hasta expandir la guerra.
As Israel's Prime Minister, I promise you this. No matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult the road ahead, Israel will not relent. Israel will not bend. We will defend our land. We will defend our people. We will fight until we achieve victory.
Victory, victoria, dice, claro, con el dinero de otro. Hay algo que debes reconocer también. La mayoría del pueblo norteamericano no está de acuerdo con lo que Netanyahu está haciendo en Gaza. Por supuesto, muchos lo ven como una masacre. Sin embargo, el Congreso lo invitó, lo aplaude, ¡yay! Y escuchen esto, más todavía. El líder del Congreso de Estados Unidos sacó una declaración diciendo que cualquier persona que se porte mal durante ese discurso de Netanyahu sería arrestado. Arrestado en una democracia por compartir otro punto de vista. Así es, y aquí está.
So we did. We got it scheduled. It'll be next week. It will be a big thing. And I want you to know that there's a number of Democrats in the House who have said they're going to boycott the event. Yeah. Yes. And then some others are going to protest. Listen, we're going to have extra sergeants at arms on the floor, and if anybody gets out of hand, the Speaker of the House will bang the gavel. We're going to arrest people if we have to do it. We're going to get the message out.
Los van a arrestar. Si dicen algo diferente de lo que quiere oír el señor Netanyahu, increíble. Hay unos cuantos políticos que demostraron dignidad, unos cuantos, no muchos, pero entre ellos está el republicano Thomas Massie. Dijo Massie, hoy el Congreso hará un teatro político en nombre del Departamento de Estado. El propósito del discurso de Netanyahu es reforzar su posición política en Israel y callar la oposición internacional a su guerra. No quiero ser un accesorio, por eso no voy a asistir. Y también del lado de los demócratas están los senadores Bernie Sanders y el congresista Jerry Nadler, que también protestaron la visita de Netanyahu. Escuchen.
It will be the first time in American history that a war criminal has been given that honor. Frankly, this invitation to Netanyahu is a disgrace and something that we will look back on with regret.
And his interest is to keep the war going as long as possible. And that's what he's doing. And when he talks about the hostages, I don't believe he has any interest in releasing the hostages because that would hasten the end of the war. And that's why you see hostage negotiations, and he keeps putting new conditions. He keeps putting new objections to the hostage deal.
Esos son los dos, entre los dos, que no asistieron el discurso del primer ministro. Pero ¿sabes también quién no asistió el discurso? Y por otra razón, la vicepresidenta Kamala Harris, la candidata que propone el Partido Demócrata para reemplazar a Biden, fue escondida. La escondieron, la escondieron. Harris le dio su asiento normal, donde ella se sienta, detrás del Netanyahu, a otro senador, para ella no aparecer junto a él por televisión. ¿Por qué? Porque los demócratas no quieren que los votantes, y más que todos los votantes jóvenes, sepan que ella también ha sido comprada por el lobby de Israel y que su marido es un sionista.
I told him that I will always ensure that Israel is able to defend itself, including from Iran and Iran-backed militias such as Hamas and Hezbollah. From when I was a young girl, collecting funds to plant trees for Israel, to my time in the United States Senate and now at the White House, I have had an unwavering commitment to the existence of the State of Israel, to its security, and to the people of Israel.
Se reunió con Netanyahu escondida, en privado, y en resumen, ahora Harris dice que le dijo a Netanyahu, fuera de las cámaras, claro, que él tiene todo su apoyo, todo el apoyo que ella le puede dar para seguir haciendo lo que necesita hacer con los palestinos, aunque son inocentes. Y como nadie sabe quién va a ser el próximo presidente, entonces el primer ministro no paró sus visitas con Harris. Netanyahu entonces se montó en un avión y se fue para la Florida. Y ahí vemos ahora al primer ministro con Trump en Mar-a-Lago, asegurando que los dos bandos van a estar a su lado. Claro, él también sabe que Trump y su yerno siempre han sido fieles a la causa sionista y van a estar a su lado, como vemos en esa foto. El verdadero temor era que después de buscar el apoyo del Congreso de Estados Unidos y todos los políticos en Estados Unidos y obtener su aprobación después de visitar a Harris y a Trump, Netanyahu regresaría a Israel siendo más peligroso todavía, más peligroso que nunca y con más ganas de ampliar su guerra. Lamento decirles que así mismo ocurrió.
Bombardeo israelí contra una escuela en el centro de Gaza. El Ministerio de Salud del territorio palestino, gobernado por Hamas, aseguró el sábado que al menos una treintena de personas murieron y más de un centenar resultaron heridas en el ataque. Y explicó que el centro educativo albergaba una unidad médica improvisada en el área de Deir al-Bala.
¿Sabes qué? Cada día que pasa es más evidente que Netanyahu es más y más capaz de comprometer a Estados Unidos en más guerras, mientras bombardea Líbano, Yemen y quién sabe, quién más, hasta que empiece posiblemente una guerra con Irán, que pudiera provocar una tercera guerra mundial. Esto es serio. Pero lo más triste de todo, posiblemente lo más cruel y extraño de la visita del primer ministro de Israel, es que ocurrió, si te acuerdas, ocurrió hace unos cuantos días, pero el mismo día del discurso que dio el presidente Biden. Este es el momento cuando el señor Biden le dijo al pueblo norteamericano que no iba a seguir para una segunda vuelta. Aquí está.
When Ben Franklin was asked, as he emerged from the convention going on, whether the founders have given America a monarchy or republic, Franklin's response was, a republic, if you can keep it.
Pobrecito, se trabó, no pudo pronunciar las palabras fáciles, no pudo decir Congreso Continental, en inglés, Continental Congress, no le salía bien, aunque estaba escrito, las palabras estaban escritas en el teleprompter, y tuvo 5 días para practicarlo y no lo pudo hacer. Ponte a pensar en lo que acaba de ocurrir en Estados Unidos. Si lo piensas, ¿no? La vicepresidenta se tiene que esconder, o la tienen que esconder. El presidente de Estados Unidos habla por 11 minutos, 11 minutitos fue el discurso ese. Luce mal, débil, horrible, robótico. Todo esto mientras el primer ministro de Israel domina el Congreso de Estados Unidos con gritos y palabras fuertes y confianza y poder, diciéndole a todo el mundo lo que tienen que hacer. ¿No es justo entonces preguntar quién es el verdadero líder en este momento de los Estados Unidos? Yo creo que es una pregunta esencial. Una última cosa. ¿Quién está influyendo la política de Washington? ¿Quién? ¿Rusia o Israel? Cuando regresemos, vamos a hablar con Max Aub, un fabuloso reportero y comentarista mexicano, quien estará aquí con nosotros. No se me vayan. No. Why? What's the matter? Oh, you having audio issues? No, I want to ask Eric a question. Eric is the producer over there. You can't hear me? La palabra pseudo intelectual, ¿existe? Pseudo intelectual. No, pseudo intelectual. ¿No existe en español como en inglés? Pseudo intellectual. Ok, perfecto. Ya. All right, let's go. Bueno, aquí estamos de vuelta, soy Rick Sánchez y déjame presentarte a Max Aub, uno de mis favoritos intelectuales, seguro que no le va a gustar que le dije eso, y escritores sobre este arroz con mango que existe en este momento en la política de nuestro país, Estados Unidos. Max, siempre un placer.
Igualmente, Rick, aquí estamos como siempre con mucho gusto.
Imagínate esa imagen cuando yo como norteamericano, imagínate, igual que tú, pero más que yo me he pasado mi vida aquí en los Estados Unidos, ver esa situación con Bibi Netanyahu mandando como si fuera el presidente y todo el mundo obedeciendo y el presidente, pobrecito, luce horrible, no pudo hablar por más de 11 minutos, la vicepresidenta escondida. ¿Qué tú piensas de esa imagen, de esa óptica?
Bueno, definitivamente es la impresión que recibimos y es una impresión muy negativa, más allá de lo que ha sido desde una perspectiva, pues, digamos, cronológica y real de por qué se llega a este momento en el Congreso de los Estados Unidos. La historia nos ha dicho que, bueno, la Unión Americana siempre ha tenido muy buenas relaciones, un enlace muy importante con el Estado judío, especialmente después de la Segunda Guerra Mundial. Pero en esta ocasión, con un personaje como Netanyahu, la cosa se complica seriamente. Yo me iría, Rick, si me permites, al principio de todo esto. En realidad no es una situación del Estado judío que viene a decirle a los estadounidenses qué deben hacer o cómo deben hacerlo. Es simplemente que se le abrió la puerta y se le dio el poder a una sola persona, que es Netanyahu. Recordemos que antes de ese fatídico 7 de octubre, Netanyahu ya tenía muy serios problemas en Israel y que estaba a punto de entrar a un proceso para ser destituido, para quitarlo. Y uno se pregunta, entraron 3,000, de acuerdo con información de Israel, entraron 3,000 terroristas a territorio israelí. ¿De verdad el Mossad no sabía? ¿No se dio cuenta a tiempo, por lo menos? Y entonces esto nos da la sugerencia, es una guerra definitivamente de Benjamín Netanyahu. Es una guerra que él le conviene estar alargando porque en tanto exista, pues no tendrá el peligro de ser destituido. Y ahora con la invitación, me parece imprudente que le hacen en el Congreso estadounidense, pues viene a mofarse no solamente de Estados Unidos, del mundo entero.
¿Tú crees que el pueblo mexicano, el pueblo latinoamericano piensa en este momento, después de ver esa imagen, que el país nuestro, los Estados Unidos, luce de veramente débil, posiblemente más que en el pasado? Sí.
Sí, la imagen es muy poderosa, el mensaje es muy poderoso y sobre todo tenemos esa sensación y ese sentimiento en donde estamos viendo que están muriendo pues decenas de miles de mujeres, de ancianos, de niños palestinos en la franja de Gaza, y que pues ya se exacerbó de más la reacción de ese 7 de octubre, que también fue muy lamentable, terrible, pero que no tiene fin. Es decir, si no detiene a alguien a Netanyahu, no se le ve un final. Él dice, vamos a terminar con Hamás. No se puede terminar con Hamás porque es una filosofía, una forma de pensar, de ser, de sentir. ¿Quién puede terminar contra eso?
Estamos aprendiendo ahora que fue Obama el que le dijo al presidente Biden, te tienes que ir o te vamos a sacar. Y por eso es que al fin Biden dejó la posición. No fue porque es un héroe, como están diciendo en partes de los reportajes o en la prensa o en las cadenas de televisión. Pero lo más interesante es que se va porque lo forzan y ahora tenemos una vicepresidenta que que va a ser casi seguro la candidata, y el sistema entero luce como si no tuviera la organización que siempre hemos visto en un sistema político de Estados Unidos. ¿No es así?
Sí, ¿no? Yo creo que Estados Unidos está atravesando por una etapa inédita, jamás antes registrada, en donde ni siquiera ahora sí que los más expertos pueden atinar, primero, qué sigue, qué va a suceder, pero segundo, o antes incluso, nadie imaginó jamás que fuera a presentarse una situación entre lo que sucedió entre Biden y Trump, el atentado contra Trump, lo que la Corte Suprema hace al darle inmunidad parcial al expresidente, en fin, una serie de situaciones inimaginables en la primera democracia del mundo.
¿Tú crees que en este momento, de lo que ha visto de las encuestas, y más o menos Trump sigue ganando todavía después de una semana que nombraron a Harris por unos 2 puntos porcentajes, ¿no? ¿Tú crees que Trump va a mantener esa ventaja con el poco tiempo que tiene Harris hasta la elección, que va a poder ella cerrar eso o no?
Mira, si lo vemos en una lectura estadística, pues están en un empate técnico, algo que pues no hubiéramos imaginado tampoco. Pensaríamos que seguiría Trump muy por encima, incluso después de este culto que se le rinde a partir del atentado. Pero creo que todo se va a ir normalizando una vez que termine el Congreso Nacional Demócrata, que todavía falta esa gran plataforma en donde obviamente va a haber mucho ruido y va a haber muchos números que van a estar subiendo y bajando, pero creo que pasada esta convención demócrata vamos a empezar ya a tener una situación mucho más realística de lo que podemos esperar.
¿Tú crees que importa quién es el presidente hoy en día? Porque hay los que dicen que en sí entre la CIA, el Departamento de Estado, los donantes, las grandes corporaciones, los diferentes departamentos. Este país no necesita un presidente. El presidente hoy en día no tiene tanto poder como tenía antes. ¿Qué piensas?
Yo creo que tiene que ver mucho también con la estructura de cómo se han ido modificando los partidos y a quienes han ido poniendo precisamente como candidatos y que han llegado a la Casa Blanca. Yo creo que pues un Donald Trump, le guste a quien le guste y a quien no le guste, pues tiene un carácter y una forma de ser que al menos lo hace aparentar muy poderoso y con una serie de toma de decisiones muy fuerte. Biden siempre se ha manejado muy discreto y te pongo un ejemplo muy claro, lo que sucedió con México cuando Donald Trump exigió que pusieran soldados mexicanos y que si no venían los aranceles, y lo hizo público y además pues quemó al presidente y a los funcionarios, ¿no? Cómo se doblaron, dijo Trump. Y sin embargo, la manera de actuar de Biden en estos años, él no grita ni insulta, pero sí ha mandado no menos de 6 o 7 veces a su plana mayor de seguridad nacional a reunirse con sus homólogos en México. Y bueno, los resultados con con Donald Trump se notaban prácticamente de inmediato porque había una expresión muy pública, y con Biden pues no se notan realmente. Entonces sí hay distintas maneras de tener el carácter, y creo que sí les está faltando mucha más personalidad a los presidentes estadounidenses.
En estos días, sí, yo creo que es obvio. Y es interesante también porque en el caso de Trump, en algunas cosas él es muy dominante, pero en otras cosas se deja dominar, como hizo el Departamento de Estado con él, en el caso de Pompeo y otros. Pero en el caso de Biden, casi me parece que lo dominan más en total. Pero bueno, vamos a ver lo que pasa. Max, siempre es un placer tenerte en el programa. Gracias por la conversación y por tu amistad.
Me da muchísimo gusto, Rick, también poder compartir contigo. Gracias por la invitación.
Y nos vemos en la próxima. Y con eso nos despedimos, pero quiero que sepan que me pueden encontrar aquí 2 veces a la semana, donde insisto que la verdad no vive en solamente un campo. Déjame saber lo que piensan en X o en Twitter, ¿no? Soy Rick Sánchez, en Rick Sánchez TV en Twitter. Hasta la próxima.